Today we will be discussing about iterative statements in Java. In this, we are going to discuss about the while loop, do while loop, for loop, and enhanced for loop. The heading iterative statements. What do you mean by the word iterative? What do you mean by the word iterative?
Loop.
Iterative means loop. It will keep certain statements are executed again and again until some condition is met. Okay, iterative statements are otherwise called as looping statement. So it executes the same set of instruction until a termination condition is met. Which are the three iteration statements? While, do while, and for. So while, what will while do? It repeats a statement or block while its controlling expression is true. So this is the syntax which you already know, isn't it? Anything which you have not learned is there in this? Yes or no? While, condition, body of the loop. Something which you have not done before is that while of condition. This condition should be of what expression? I've taught you operators in the previous class. No, the condition should be of what expression? What type of expression? Should it be int? In C, C++, while of 1. 1 means it is true, isn't it? But in Java, 1 is not true. Okay, so 1 is not true or 0 is not false. So this while condition should be a Boolean expression. What do you mean by the word Boolean expression? What do you mean by the word Boolean expression?
0 or 1.
No, it is not 0 or 1. The result of the expression is
True or false?
True or false.
So the output should be either a true or false. So can you write while of 1 in Java? Yes or no?
No.
No.
No, ma'am.
So how you should write it? While of true you should write. Okay. So while condition, this condition should be a Boolean expression. Boolean expression means it should evaluate to either a true or false. In Java, true is not equal to 1 and false is not equal to 0. So the condition should be a Boolean expression. Okay. So the body of the loop will be executed till when? As long as the conditional expression gives you true. Okay. When it is false, where does it go? Where does the control go? The control will go out of the
It comes out of the
loop. Now we'll see a program. Class demo, public static void main string args, int I equal to 1, while I less than or equal to 5, system.out.println I plus plus. Okay, what is the output of this program? What is output?
1, 2, 3, 4, 5.
Okay. Supposing that there is no I plus plus in this, what happens? There is no I plus plus in this. What happens?
It doesn't get incremented.
It doesn't get incremented or the loop never stops. It will enter into infinite loop. Okay. So for a loop, you should have initial condition, initial value, which is I equal to 1. You should have a Boolean condition and you should have either an increment or decrement. Okay. For while loop, the increment is outside, the initialization is outside the loop, whereas the increment or decrement should be within the loop. Okay. So this is while. Do while, same thing. What is the only difference between while and do while? The statements are executed at least once, isn't it? The statements are executed at least once. Okay. Because the condition is at the bottom. Like in C, do while, at the while you will put a semicolon, isn't it? Even in Java, in do while you have to put semicolon at the end. Okay, so it executes a body of the loop and then evaluates the conditional expression. Now if this condition is true, what does it do? If the condition is true, what does it do?
It will repeat, ma'am.
Yeah, it will repeat the loop. When the condition is false, come out. It will directly come out of the while loop. Okay, again the same program using do while. So as I already told you, int I equal to 1 should be outside the loop. So int I equal to 1, do system.out.println I plus plus, while I less than or equal to 5. So this gives you the same output. Okay. Now can you tell me the differences between while and do while? What is the first difference? What is the difference between while and do while? What is the first difference? While is called
Entry control loop.
Entry control loop, pre-test loop. Do while is called exit control loop. Okay. Minimum number of times the statement executed by while is 0, whereas the minimum number of times in do while is 1. Then you can give the syntax and one example program. Okay. So what do you mean by the word entry control loop? If the condition is false, whether the loop will be executed?
No, ma'am.
No. If
No,
the
ma'am.
condition is false, the loop is never executed. Okay.
Executed.
This is the differences between while and do while. Now we'll go to the third form of loop, which is for. Okay. Now tell me, is for a entry control loop or exit control loop?
Entry control loop.
Why is it entry control loop? If the condition is false, the body of the statement is never executed. Okay. If the condition is false at the first iteration itself, the body of the statements never execute. So for loop is a type of entry control loop. There are two forms of for loop, traditional form and for each form. We are going to discuss for each form only in detail. Okay. Before that, we'll see what is traditional form. So this you have used in many of the programs, isn't it? Traditional form. In a traditional form, how many parts, how many segments will be there? How many segments will be there? Initialization segment,
3, ma'am.
condition segment, and iteration segment.
Iteration.
Okay. When it enters, when the control enters into for loop, tell me what happens first.
First initialization.
First initialization.
Then the condition.
Then condition. Then
Iteration.
Then condition. After condition, where does it go? After condition, where does it go?
Body of the loop.
Body of loop.
It will go to the body of the loop. If the condition is false after initialization, it will exit the loop, isn't it? Okay. After executing the body of the loop, where does it go?
Iteration.
Iteration.
Again, iteration.
Then, after iteration, it will come back to condition and then body of the loop. So initialization happens how many times?
1 time.
Only one time. Initialization happens only one time. Okay. I got a message from Nisarga. Is the notes not sent to you? Nisarga S. B section. You are from B section, isn't it? Nisarga S. Okay, we'll see this later. Okay. Yeah. So there are 3 segments. Initialization, which happens only once, then condition, then iteration. After initialization, it goes to the condition. If the condition is true, then goes to the body of the loop. If the condition is false, it goes out of the loop. After executing the body of the loop, it goes to the iteration. After performing iteration, it comes back to condition and then to the body of the loop if it is true. Okay. So this is what is being explained here. Initialization part, condition and iteration. Okay. So the condition should be a Boolean expression. It should get either evaluated to true or false. Okay. On the next page, same program. For int I equal to 1, I less than or equal to 5, I plus plus, system.out.println I. What is the output we will get? What is the output? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Same output which we got for while and do while. Now, the first thing that you do not know in this traditional for is that in C, we don't initialize, we don't declare here, isn't it? Int I, will we give within the for loop in C program?
No, ma'am.
No, but in Java, we will declare it whenever it is required. Now tell me, what is the scope of this I variable? What is the scope of I variable when you declare I within the for loop? Int I equal to 1.
Within for loop.
Within
Only
the
within
particular.
the for loop. Outside the for loop, I is not recognized. Okay, so that's the first point. When we declare the variable inside the for loop, the scope of the variable ends when the for statement ends. Outside the for loop, the variable to
Not
stop to exist. Okay. Now, in this for loop, is there any restriction that we should have only one loop variable? Which is a loop variable here first? Which is a loop? I. Should we have only one, or we can have as many variables we want?
We can add as many variables.
Yes, you can have declaration of many variables in this section. Okay. So if you want I equal to 1 and j equal to 1, what you should do? You should separate it by a comma. A equal to 1, comma, b equal to 4. Okay. Separated by a comma. Then in the iteration, sorry, in the increment or decrement also, you can have 2 things separated by a comma. Now the question, can you have 2 conditions separated by comma?
Ma'am?
Yes.
If A and B have the same value like 1, we can write int A is equal to B is equal to 1, no, ma'am?
Yes. Int A equal to 1, comma B equal to 4. We have two statements here separated by comma. Similarly, we have two things separated by comma here. What about the condition? Can we have two conditions or not?
No, no.
Why?
Only one.
How do we need to combine a condition? You have to use logical operator for this. Okay, so A less than B and one more condition you can give, or A greater than B or one more condition you can give. So in the conditions, you should not combine it using a comma, whereas in other two segments, you can separate it using a comma. Suppose you want two conditions, then what should you write? Logical operators, either use a and or. Okay, that's it. Okay, this is the second point. Okay, so first is the scope of the for loop ends when the for loop ends. That is the second thing. Then you can use comma. Then third thing, I've already told you the condition should be a Boolean expression, isn't it? Okay, now int I equal to 1, not done is written. Now this variable done, is it a loop variable or not a loop variable? Done variable is a loop variable or not the loop variable? Not a loop variable. Okay. In this case, it is a loop variable and the condition is also based on the loop variable. Okay. It is not necessary that it should be, the condition should be always with respect to loop variable. It can be any other variable as well. Okay. So here it is Boolean done equal to false. So not done means what is the answer? True. I plus plus. So I will be printed. Then 2, when I becomes 2, again I will be printed. Then 3, I will be printed. 4, I will be printed. 5, I will be printed. Now, in this case, I have written one more condition. If I equal to 5, done becomes true. Okay. So when I is 5, done becomes true. So it will come here. Not done. Now, not done means what? Not true is
Not
false.
easy.
So now the false loop will fail and it will come out of the for loop. So when I say a Boolean condition, it can be any condition which is getting evaluated to true or false. Okay, not restricted to loop variable. Okay. Next, fourth point. Now, I don't want this initialization as well. I don't want this increment, decrement as well. So how do I do it? I don't want this initialization section. So how do I keep the condition next?
Using semicolon.
Just give a semicolon. That will end the first part. Okay. So after the semicolon, write the condition. Then if you don't want this also, increment or decrement also, just put a semicolon. See here. For semicolon, not done, semicolon. This can be done. Both the segments can be absent. But see to that, before that for loop, the variables are initialized. Okay. For section, this section is absent, semicolon, condition, Boolean condition, semicolon, even this section is absent. So when the increment or decrement is absent, within the for loop, the increment or decrement should be available. Now we'll go through this program. Boolean done is false, I equal to 0. Not done means it is true. For loop is true, so it will go inside and print 1. Then it checks if I equal to 10. No, so it will directly go to I plus plus. I plus plus means it will come not done. Yes. Print 2. So till 10 it will go. When I is 10, what happens is that 10 equal to 10 is true. Then done becomes I plus plus means I becomes 11. So it will come here. Is it not done? That is false because not true is false. So if for loop is false means it will go out. Okay. So both these segments will be absent, but you have to indicate them with the help of semicolons. Now, tell me, can this Boolean expression itself be absent? Yes or no?
No, ma'am.
Syntactically it is correct that can be absent, but okay, but it will enter into infinite loop. Okay, so we can create this loop. Semicolon, semicolon means all the segments are absent, but this will result in what loop? A loop that never terminates. Okay, so these are the 5 points you should know. First point is scope of the for loop restricts within the for loop. When the for loop ends, the variable will not exist. Then using comma, you can have multiple declarations in the first segment and multiple declarations in the last segment. But in the second segment, if you want to have, then you have to use a logical operator. Third one, it is not necessary that the Boolean expression should be always the loop variable. It can be any expression that gets evaluated to true or false. Fourth is both the segments can be absent. The first and the third segment can be absent. The second one can be available. So separate them with the help of semicolons. Okay. If you don't put the semicolon, this not done becomes an initialization, which cannot happen, isn't it? Then you can make all the segments absent by putting double semicolons. This will result in an infinite. Okay. So difference between while and do while we have seen. For loop is a entry control loop. If the expression Boolean condition is false at the first iteration, the loop never executes. Yes. From now onwards, I want you to put your attention, complete attention. The next form of for loop is enhanced for loop, isn't it? Enhanced for loop is otherwise called as for each version of for loop. Okay. Now, before going to read this, we will see an example. Okay. For int x colon a. Here a is an array. Okay. System.out.println x. Okay. Even in this also you can't find. We'll take a program. Okay. So see here, scanner class, n value is taken. Array A is declared to the size of n. Then we are taking the values for A array. Okay. There are n elements in the array. Okay. I want to find the sum. Okay. Now x is a name.
Yes, ma'am.
Word. Okay. I have just opened a word. See here. A is an array. Okay. Think A as an array. Now, let us assume that it has 5 elements. How do you identify the first element in the array? How do you identify the first element?
With the index.
With the index, isn't it? So the first element index is
0.
A of 0. Second element index is A of 1. Third element is A of 2. Then fourth element is A of 3. Then A of 4. If you give A of 5, what happens? Morning class we saw. If you give A of 5, you will get what exception? Array index out of bounds. Okay, so these are the elements. Now, what you can do is, you can write a for loop. Okay, for what is the type of this array? Let us assume the type of the array is int. Okay, so what is the type of the array? Element. Each element is of what type? Int. So the data type is int. I am just going to take one loop variable. Let it be any variable, x. Now x can store, let us assume the values also 10. Here it is 2. Here it is 3, 4 and 5. Okay. Now x is a variable which store an element at a time, one element at a time. It starts from the first element. So what will be available in the x value?
10. First
10.
10.
When it moves to the next element, what will be the value at x? 2. Then next element value at x will be 3. Then 4 and then 5. Okay. So at a time in x, you can store one element's value. Okay. So int x is a loop variable which holds one element at a time. It is not holding the index value. 0 or 1 it is not holding. X is going to hold the value of that element. Okay. Okay. After that, first is data type of the element. So it is int. Since array A itself is of type int x. X is any variable. You can use any variable. Then followed by that, you have to give colon. Syntax is colon. Then array name. What is array name? A. Okay. End the for loop. Okay. Then I want to print the first element. So how do I do it? The first element will be available at which place? System.out.println of. First element will be at which variable?
0.
See, it will iterate through the first element to the last element. So when the loop executes for the first time, what will be the value at x? 10, isn't it? Just print it. Okay. So x, you will print x. Okay. Then it is not ended because A has some more elements. First element is printed. So it will automatically move to the second element after end of the for loop. It will come here. Please unmute mute yourself, sorry, mute yourselves. Then second element, it will automatically increment to the second element. So system.out.println x means what value it will be printing? 2. Next 3, next 4, next 5. After execute printing 5, it will go to the for loop. Okay, this for loop will fail. Can you guess why the for loop will fail?
Why? Because all the elements.
Because
No increment operator.
it can cycle through all the elements of A array, but A array elements are exhausted. Can it cycle through the next element? No. And at that case, for loop will fail. So it will come out of the for loop. Okay. So this is the example. We'll go back to the. Yes. Okay. So this is the syntax. What is x here? X is the loop variable pointing to the first element, okay, of A array. It will print the first element. After that, it goes to the second element, keeps on doing until the A array is exhausted. Now, do you have any doubt in this?
No, ma'am.
No. Can you use this for each loop for inputting an array?
Yes, ma'am.
You
Yes,
cannot
ma'am.
use. Okay.
Can't.
So for each loop is used only for displaying like this. Okay. Or any other calculations you can do with the help of x. But for reading the array, you cannot use for each loop. Why? Why you cannot use the for each loop for reading the array?
Because X will be holding
There will
value.
be n variables.
There will be no values to store at x. There will be no array, isn't it? It can cycle through all the elements, but x value is not defined, isn't it? Okay. So for each loop is never used for reading an array. It cannot be used for reading the array. Can you read the elements in reverse? Can you print the elements in reverse using a for each loop? Yes or no?
No, ma'am. It always starts from
No.
the first element.
It
Yeah.
strictly starts from the first element and goes till the last element in sequential fashion. Okay. So now we'll read this. A for each style loop is designed to cycle through a collection of objects. What do you mean by collection? Group of objects. Collection of
Group of
objects such as an array in strictly sequential fashion from start to finish. It cannot be used for reading the array. Okay. It cannot be used for reading the array. Okay. You have to read right from the first element. Okay. In sequential fashion. Okay.
Fashion.
Then now see the syntax for type. Type is int here. If the array has float, then you have to give here float. What is x? Iteration variable or loop variable, we can say, colon. What is a?
Collection.
Collection. Okay. We have given a different name called collection because apart from array, we have some more collections called list, some more collections called stack, DQ, Q and all. Okay. So here A need not be only array. It can be even list. Okay. So the syntax says colon any collection. It can be any collection. Just think collection as a group of objects. Since we are not introduced to other collections, we will use only one collection. Which collection? Array collection. Okay. Now, how do you use for each loop to find the sum of n numbers? That program we will see. Okay, scanner s, new scanner system.in, int n is equal to s dot next int a equal to new int of n. Can you declare an array like this? Int a of 10 in Java? Int a of 10, can you declare?
No, ma'am.
No, you have to use new, isn't it? Int a, new int of n means what is the size? If I give n value 5, it will be int of 5.
Right.
Now, in this case, to read the input for array elements s dot next int, why did I use this traditional form of for? Why did I use
Because
traditional form?
it is a reading, no, ma'am.
Yeah, reading an array, you can never use for each loop. So I have used the traditional form as how you do always to read n elements into an array. Okay, then int sum equal to 0. Okay, I need to do sum equal to sum plus a of 0, isn't it? So how do we use the for each loop? For, open the bracket, int. Why it is int? The array is of type int. Int any variable x colon a. Why did we write a here? A is the collection. So it can run from first element, isn't it? So sum equal to sum plus what you should write?
X.
X.
X. Okay, so it will add all the array elements and the result will be stored in sum.
Sum.
Okay, system.out.println sum. How will you find the average?
Sum.
Sum by n. Average is equal to sum by n. Okay. Now tell me, do you have any doubt in for each loop? This is the one we have learned new today. This is the syntax. You can message me. Any doubt in for each loop?
No, ma'am.
Ma'am, can we start from index 1, ma'am?
No, you can't start. You have to start from the first element, but in the middle you can terminate out of the for loop. Okay, it has to be started right from the first element, 0th element, index 0 element. Okay,
Okay, ma'am.
see, read this. Okay, in strictly sequential fashion. Okay, from start to finish, but you can before finish you can break. Okay, I'll give you an example program for that. Iteration over multiple. We'll search an element using enhanced for linear search. Okay, enter n, take n value from user, declare the array of size n. Okay, enter the elements of array, enter the search element. From here till here, any doubt, just go through linear search. It is just we are taking the n value from the user, we are declaring an array of size n. Okay, then we are inputting all the array elements, then we are taking the search element. Any doubt in this?
No, ma'am.
Okay,
No, ma'am.
now we have to use enhanced for, isn't it, for searching the element. Here in this case you can't use enhanced search because it is inputting array elements. Okay, yes. Now enhanced for in key equal to s dot next int. Okay, how will you do? Shall we open a Word document and type it? Okay, so now tell me, what is the array name? Let us keep A of size n. Okay, what is the data type? Let us keep int. Okay, search element, let it be key. Okay, now tell the for each loop. For int, because the type is int, take any variable. Okay, colon, which is a collection name. What is a collection name?
A.
Okay, then in linear search generally what we will do, if a of I equal to key, is that we do in linear a of I equal to key, isn't it? Okay, now here instead of a of I, what you should write?
X.
Yes, that's all. Okay, if x equal to key. Okay, I think I can. Okay, for int x colon a, if x is equal to key, now what you will keep? Found is equal to true. You will just stop from the loop to write by writing break. It will come out of the loop. Again, here you cannot find the index with the help of for each loop. You cannot find the index. You should devise some other logic to print the index. Okay, maybe if the loop, if this loop is running for the first time, it is 0. Second time means it is 1. Like that, you have to devise your own logic. But through for each loop, you cannot print the index. Okay, so if x is equal to key, found equal to true, found data type is boolean. So earlier it is false, now we make it true. Break from the loop. If a found means system.out.println value found, else it is not found. Okay, yes, you can use a break and come out of the for each loop anytime you want. Okay, now one more program also, let us see. Suppose if it is an two-dimensional array, how do you use a for each loop to find the sum and all? Mn, what is m here? What is m? Number of rows. What is n? Number of columns. Keep a 2D array. Okay. New int mn. Two for loops, nested for. A of ij is equal to s dot next int. Like how in the previous program we did 1D array, isn't it?
Yes,
1D array. Now we are just doing 2D array.
2D.
Okay. So now to read input, you cannot use for each loop. So I have used traditional forms. Then Next, I need to find the sum of all the numbers, isn't it? Now, can I write for each loop directly? Okay. Since it is a 2D loop, a 2D array, how many for loops should be there? 2 for loops. I've told this many times in the class, isn't it? 3D means 3 for loops. Similarly, even for the for each loop, 2D means how many for loops should be there? 2 for loops should be there. Okay. So the first form, int x of array colon nums. Sorry, it is not nums, it is a here. Okay, collection is a, it is not nums here, a. Now, when you write this, what is x array? What is x array? Again, I'll go back to our document. There is a 2D array, isn't it? Okay, so how many for loops you should write? 2 for loops. Okay, in the first for loop, what you should do is, it is of type int only. So int, okay, instead of writing x, you should write 1D array. So the first for loop output is a 1D array. Second for loop output will be a single array, like this example. Okay, for int x a. So int x 1D array colon a. Sorry, a is the name of the array. Then in the next for loop, what you should do? For int, first for loop output is an array. For the second for loop output will be a single element, isn't it? Now what is the collection here? What is the collection here? A is already inputted for x. Y is, now we'll take table of values, then you will be clear. I have like this 0, 1, 2. These are the values in the 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. Tell me the number of rows for this. 4 rows and 3 columns. So what is the value for m? What is the value for m? 4. What is the value for n? 3, isn't it? So there are 4 rows and 3 columns. Okay. So in the first loop, what happens is that entire A arrays, first row is given for x. Okay. So in the first row, we'll have 1D array, isn't it? Okay. Now int y equal to what you should write here? What you should write here? What is the collection here? So this will be your x of 0. This will be your x of 0. This will be what? Your x of 1. This will be x of 2. This will be your x of 3. Isn't it? Okay, x of 3, isn't it? Each element is y. Okay, each element is y. Now, in the first iteration of A, the first row is given to x array. So this, which values will be available in the x of 0? 0, 1, 2. So for int y equal to what you should write here? Which is the collection now? X. So in the first, within the inner for, first row will be going. Did you understand? Right?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Now what will you write? Sum is equal to what? Sum plus? Sum equal to sum plus?
Y.
Y. Isn't it? Y. So int x of array, it is a here, okay, colon a, for int y colon x, system dot out dot println y will give the element. Sum is equal to what? Sum equal to sum plus y. That's print the value of sum. If you want to find the average, what is the answer?
Sum divided by
Sum divided by
n.
Sum divided by m into n, isn't it? Number of elements is m into n. So m into n. Okay, that's it. Now one more example. Int sum equal to 0. Suppose I have this as an array. I want the sum of first 5 elements. How do I do it? Using for each loop. I have not used for each for inputting. Okay. I need the sum of first 5 elements. How do I do it? I don't know the index also within the for each loop, isn't it? Yes or no?
I can use one variable I, ma'am. Count the number of iterations.
Yes, you have multiple ways. You have to devise a method to find the index. That's it. Okay. Otherwise, one more simplest method is int x colon num you will write, isn't it? Num is the array. Okay. Sum equal to sum plus x. Now, which will be your fifth element? Which will be your fifth element?
A of 4.
Number 4. In this case, it is number
Yeah,
4.
number 4.
If your current x value is equal to number 4, that means you have reached the fifth element, isn't it? Just write a break and come out of the loop. This is one more method. Okay, because you know that the element at the fifth value will be at number 4. So you can use like this. Number 4 you can use. We are not changing the index values in using for each loop. The index is always 0, 1, 2, 3, 4 only. So you know that fifth element will be at which place? Fourth place. So it is number 4. So you can write if x is equal to number 4, break the loop. That's all.
Break.
Now sum will be what? Addition of first 5
First 5
elements.
elements.
5.
That's it. Okay. This is for each loop. Any doubt? We'll move to the next
No,
thing.
ma'am.
Okay. What is the syntax for each loop? For, open the parenthesis, type, loop variable, colon, collection name. Collection name, here it is array name. That's it. Okay. If it is a 2D array, what you will do? You have to use how many for loops? 2 for loops.
For loop.
Out of the first for loop, you will get the first row. For the next iteration, it will be the second row. So within the inner for, you will have y as a point to the element. Y refers to the individual element. X refers to the rows. So there are 2 for loops. Okay, that's it. Can we nest loops? Within while can we have while? Within for can we have for? Within a for can we have while? Can we nest loops? Yes or no? Yes. Just like other languages, you can nest all the loops. Java allows loops to be nested. One loop may be inside another. One example for this is within the for, I have another for. I loop executes for 5 times, whereas J loop also is executing for 5 times. I'm going to print this pattern. Tell me the output of this. What is the output in the first line? When I is equal to 0, J executes for how many times?
5.
5
5
times.
times.
Okay. When I is 1, J executes for how many times?
Again.
See, J equal
4
to I
times.
means J becomes
No,
1.
4,
So 5
4.
minus 1, 4 times it will execute.
4 times.
Then when I is 2, this will be 3 times. So
3
5
times.
stars, 4 stars, 3 stars, 2 stars and 1. Thank you all for watching my video. Thank you all for watching my video.